Hey folks, this is Kelani with Battle for Azeroth in a bit of a dodgy spot. It's no wonder that there's a lot of talk of leaving Azeroth and relinquishing that ever so persistent monthly subscription. But it's not all doom and gloom. You can find a little bit of light in the latest WoW expansion if you really try. And let's be honest, there are a lot of people who will go along with the ride no matter what happens for reasons we'll touch on in this video. And despite the negativity, despite the glaring issues with some features and systems in the World of Warcraft right now, there are still reasons to keep playing. This first one almost makes me a little angry, but even though you might find flaws with warfronts or islands or any number of things that have been introduced recently, one thing keeps shining brighter than ever before. The world. The art team have done an incredible job this expansion. You can stop and admire the scenery in pretty much every zone and location. Everything from camps, hubs, cities, marketplaces, buildings, dungeons, and even the raids that we've seen so far are beautiful. And this isn't anything new. Admittedly, they were probably a little restricted with their colour palette of Legion, but they still managed to craft some fantastic looking areas. Even if the gameplay for Arathi or Darkshore aren't all too thrilling, you can't really say they didn't do a great job repainting those zones. Teldrassil off in the distance, the shadow across the moon. Darkshore in particular was done very well, I think. As we move past the faction conflict and start looking more towards the Naga and the Old Gods, I'm really excited to see what the art team can whip up for us, because I don't think they've really disappointed us at all. Back in Legion, when we were told Suramar would be a full-scale city for us to sneak around, sabotage and overtake as we progress through the Suramar campaign, that was really hard to imagine until we saw the city for ourselves, and it was done so well. We haven't really had that in Battle for Azeroth yet, but maybe we'll be seeing something similar as we delve into the city of Nazjatar. That could be our next big thing, and if the art team keeps going the way that they have been, it's probably going to look amazing as well. Beyond that, we might have some new islands or land pop up out of the ocean, and we might even get to see the old god city of Ny'alotha. There are so many cool places this expansion could take us, and with any luck, they will all be a joy to explore. Some may say that the graphics are outdated, the style is too cartoonish, and we should be playing some of these newer MMOs like Black Desert Online or Blade and Soul. But that's half the point. WoW has its style and its theme, and when you consider that they're running on the same engine that they were when the game first launched, you have to give these guys a huge amount of credit. Updating that engine as the game has progressed allows the art team to deliver some beautiful landscapes and gives us a wonderful world to romp around in. Now, if only they could get the other teams on the same page, we might be able to bail out this ship before it's too late. But not all of the content in Battle for Azeroth has been a wash. A lot of players stick around in this world because it has some of the best endgame content available in an MMO. The raiding scene has always been one of the strongest pulls for WoW, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. Even throughout Warlords of Draenor, where there was very little content and everyone was very vocal about it, the raiding kept a lot of people chugging along. Blackrock Foundry and Hellfire Citadel had some amazing encounters. I'll definitely remember Orgorger for a long time to come. Raiding was fantastic throughout Legion, and from what we've seen so far of Battle for Azeroth, players will continue to strap their boots on every Thursday, Wednesday or Tuesday, and delve into the deepest recesses of Azeroth in hopes of finding worthy targets to kill, plentiful booty to acquire, and the prestige to go along with it. I think things are even more exciting now with Method streaming their progress in Mythic Raids live. It gives everybody a window into the real progression in the first few days of a new raid tier, something that had previously been shuttered behind closed doors and kept very quiet until the last boss died several times over. The Hall of Fame also gives top tier players something to strive for, which is always a good thing when you want to keep people playing and really pushing for that world first. The next raid tier of BFA will open up very shortly, and from what we've seen so far, this one should be a blast as well. I wouldn't be too surprised if a whole lot of people came back to WoW for this raid, even if some other parts of the game aren't all too exciting right now. It's not all about huge groups and massive time commitments anymore either. Thanks to Mythic Plus, you have another form of endgame content. It's not quite as shiny as raids, and you won't get as many new experiences as we progress through the expansion because dungeons just aren't added as often as raids, but what you do have is an endlessly scaling competition that you can take part in whenever your heart desires. With that being said, BFA introduced seasons, which change your Mythic Plus experience quite drastically every time we get a new season, so all of the same dungeons from the start of this expansion actually have the potential to play quite differently by the end. Reaping is definitely going to play out very differently when compared to Infested, so at least there's going to be some change. If you and a group of friends really want to head down the Mythic Plus dungeon route, you can push yourselves time and time again to try and get to the top of the leaderboards, and the top of the IO scoreboards. Quite a few players are pushing Mythic Plus really hard and seem to be having a blast doing so. It's not going to be for everyone, but anyone who absolutely loves dungeons, having this option is no small thing. And now if you really crave that challenge, you really want to be on the cutting edge of what is actually new and challenging right now, but you don't want to raid, at least you do have another option. And even though WoW's endgame has been one of its major strong points for a while now, that doesn't mean there isn't anything else to do. The amount of content that you have available in WoW is pretty staggering. Part of that comes from this being the 7th expansion added onto this game. All of that content is still there. You can explore old zones, venture through old dungeons, old raids, complete storylines, see what happened through each expansion to get where we are today. Along the way you can collect new mounts, pets, tabards, transmog, titles, achievements, toys, all sorts of goodies to proudly display on your character and customize it however you wish. If you ever wanted to take a break from the busy schedule of raiding, you can also go and play Pokemon Light. Pet battles is something that a lot of players scoff at before they give it a chance. It's actually a really cool little side adventure that I've gotten wrapped up in a few times now. It just kinda kills the time when there's nothing else to do. Pet battles even have dungeons now if you want a bit of a challenge, but my main point here is that it's not just all about the raids or dungeons, even that's where a lot of people's focus usually is. There's actually quite a wide variety of content available in World of Warcraft, and it shouldn't really come as a surprise. If there wasn't, this game wouldn't have done anywhere near as well as it has. And as much as I would like to point out the parts I don't like or I think could have been done a little better, we have more variety of content now more than ever. Warfronts and Island Expeditions introduce different styles of content that we haven't seen too much before, which brings me to another point. The dev team keeps trying new things. Sometimes they don't stick, sometimes they get things wrong, but at least they're trying to give us new ways to enjoy the game. If you remove Island Expeditions and Warfronts entirely, cut the whole thing out, rewards and all, would the game be better off? I'm not so sure. It gives us more options, it gives us more choice. It's another discussion if they could have made something better in its place, but at least we have a nice little foundation to build upon and improve. Doing something new and failing is actually almost as valuable as doing something new and succeeding. Once upon a time, achievements with a new piece of content, world quests, time walking, weekly events in general, challenge mode dungeons, Mythic Plus, all of these additions were a risk. Some of it stuck, some of it didn't. We're just in an unfortunate position right now where quite a few things didn't stick, but as long as Blizzard learns from what did well and what didn't, we should hopefully end up with improvements to the game regardless. Patch 8.2 sounds very interesting. With the changes being made to the Heart of Azeroth, they could change Islands and Warfronts even further too. So I think the wide array of content available and the addition of new types of content as the game progresses are definitely reasons to come back to Azeroth, if not enough to stay for the entire journey. I will say though, I think it might have taken them a little too long to admit some of their mistakes this time around. BFA could have been in a much stronger position had the dev team listened to concerns early on in the testing cycle. Hopefully another lesson to learn and take forward so the future of WoW benefits further. And at the end of the day, because Islands and Warfronts didn't really stick to the board all too well, we probably won't see them in a future expansion. It's back to the drawing board for that one. Let's hope they nail it next time. For some players, it's actually a lot simpler than what content they have to keep themselves busy. Some people just play World of Warcraft to keep playing World of Warcraft. Oftentimes it's due to various attachments, to guilds, to characters, to people, and even to their memories. I know it's very hard for some veteran players to move on from the game or let go of their characters simply because of the time they have invested in this virtual world. Personally, I've spent nearly 14 years of my life playing WoW off and on. I still look back at my EU account sometimes, flicking through my characters, wondering if I should reactivate that account just to go through my banks and my items to see what's there. My old warrior still has the axe that lets you turn into the undead guitarist from Elite Tauren Chieftain. Don't laugh at the name, okay? I was like 12 when I made that character, and even younger when that was my name in RuneScape. I left a good chunk of my WoW life behind when I started on North American servers. Part of me wonders if that will make it easier if I ever decide to leave Azeroth for good. I don't have quite as many years pumped into the account that I'm playing right now, while some people have the entire history of WoW attached to their account, sometimes even their characters. I don't even question why it would be hard to leave behind a character that you've been playing since vanilla, but it's just not about time either. It can also be about friends. If you watch my previous video talking about reasons why someone might unsub from WoW, friends was one of the reasons. If your friends start jumping ship, it might not take too much more for you to follow them out the door. But the opposite is also true. Friends can be the main reason you log on every day, whether it be to log on for your scheduled raid or just to see who's hanging out in Azeroth. Having friends in-game will always make the experience more rewarding in my opinion. It's also way less frustrating when you have a group of like-minded individuals to call upon should you need any help with a quest or a dungeon or anything else. I was super fortunate that I could rally together a little group of guildies to clear through the hive mind puzzle together. That would have been a huge pain without friends I could trust to stick it through to the end. Relying on the random potential of pickup groups can be quite taxing, even for the most patient of folk out there. That's why getting yourself into a guild with people who want the same thing from the game as you do will make everything 10 times easier. You'll have more reliable Mythic Plus runs, you can actually put together raids that won't fall apart after a single wipe, and you can do it all while having a laugh in Discord. Another reason that players are still standing with Blizzard right now is the hope that things will get better. You might think that hope is entirely misplaced, but we just came off an amazing expansion. It had its flaws for sure, we still complained about various things as per usual, but Legion was, in the grand scheme of things, a really good expansion. We've just gotten a little lost along the way since then, all we need is a little nudge in the right direction, right? With the changes we've seen to the Azerite system, the Azerite armor sources, island expedition rewards, the improvements of Darkshore over Arathi, and the promise of change for patch 8.2, I wouldn't say that hope is misplaced at all. I reckon we'll see Battle for Azeroth grow and flourish into another great installment for World of Warcraft. I just worry how long this course will take to correct, and whether we can stay on track next time. By the time patch 8.2 comes around, we'll be halfway through the expansion. Plenty of people will stick with WoW through this bumpy ride, but plenty more will happily hop off and find something else to do in the meantime. Hopefully they find their way back to us, because the more people that play the game, the better everything will be, but I do think Legion has given a lot of players hope that BFA will get better. They're just sticking things out so they can stay current and relevant, and probably have a few ties to the game that we've already talked about. Another issue that some people run into when considering whether or not they want to stick around in Azeroth is, well, where else would I go? I really enjoy playing MMOs and games in general, and I've been playing WoW for so long that I know where everything is, I know what to expect from future content, all of my friends are here, I know all my key bindings. What game could be good enough to leave all of that behind and start afresh? If you're actually enjoying your time in WoW, that makes it even harder to hop on board another game, and I really don't think there are that many solid alternatives to WoW right now. Final Fantasy is perhaps the one I hear about the most, and I've spent a little bit of time in that world. It's a beautiful world, the art style is very different, and for the most part I enjoy how everything plays. Guild Wars 2 has gotten a bit more attention recently with how well its latest expansion is doing, and honestly RuneScape should probably be on this list as well. Some of you might laugh at that last one, but old school RuneScape has been doing extremely well with its unique take on how to handle content delivery, but no matter what other title you pick up, I feel like you lose various aspects that WoW does incredibly well, and you don't really gain any huge benefits anywhere. Even though WoW is in a bit of a rut right now, I think it's still a better game than the other options on the shelf. Admittedly, I haven't spent enough time to really create a well-informed opinion on any other title, but maybe when the next large content drought comes around, I'll dip my toe further into some of these other worlds with your help and suggestions, but by then we will also have classic WoW, so that might become a contender for my time and attention. It takes a lot to pull a WoW player away to another game, and oftentimes it's WoW making a mistake, rather than another game doing something overly well that causes people to stray. Maybe something will eventually come along and dethrone WoW, but for now it remains the most successful and most popular MMO for a reason. And at the end of the day, the most important reason for some players to keep chugging along is that they're actually still having fun. It might be hard to imagine at times, but some players are perfectly happy with how the World of Warcraft plays right now. If you're just there for raiding, chances are you're having fun in raids. If you're just there for Mythic Plus, well, you might be having fun for now, you might get more with Reaping. It might not last for the entire expansion, but there is fun to be had in that content. If you're happy just running around collecting and battling your pets, or running old content to pad out your collections of mounts or transmog, that's fantastic. You do you. If you're having fun, that's all that really matters. It's your $15 a month. Personally, I can't wait until the raid opens. We just joined a new guild. We're a part of a bobsled team now, so that's cool. We're meeting new people who will hopefully turn into some great new friends. We might actually get cutting edge this time around instead of stalling on the last boss like we did in Uldia. I do hope that the dev team takes our feedback seriously in the future though. They're already working on borrowed time, I feel. There are plenty of people who are playing the game right now for one of the many reasons I've gone through in this video, probably a handful of others that I didn't mention too, but these reasons won't keep those players around forever. Patch 8.1.5 and patch 8.2 have to knock it out of the park, otherwise these reasons could dwindle one by one. But that's it for this video. Are there any reasons that that you're still playing that I didn't touch on in this video. If you decided to take a break from the game, what would make you consider joining the battle for Azeroth once again? Leave all your thoughts in the comments section below. A big thank you to all of our supporters over on Patreon. You can see the names floating by on screen. If you want to join these lovely guys and gals, you can find a link in the description below. Remember to leave a like just below the video before you leave, and if you want to see more, make sure to subscribe. But apart from that, thanks for watching folks, good luck and have fun, and as always I will see you next time.